my draft science video. Some comments and such. I'll play some of this new Holiday video. It's quite hilarious. I guess I'll say to the trolls, look, post your comments on Holiday videos. Alright? And, occasionally I read those if you really need to get to me or something. But, I mean, you're not making any counter arguments. And I just don't, I have no interest. I mean this recent idiot, he posted Gary, a high school dropout. I mean, they just can't stay on the subject. Even if I was a high school dropout, it's totally irrelevant. Because, yeah, I'm 57 years old. I've done a lot of things since high school. It doesn't mean anything as an argument, idiot. But the truth is, I did graduate high school without even trying. Being stoned and asleep the second 2 years. And I still graduated in top 5th in my class, which sort of demonstrates you people really are imbeciles. I mean, I didn't even make a slight effort in high school. Not even a slight effort. And I did better than half the imbeciles. Without even taking a book home. I never took... My locker was just a garbage can. I never took a book home. Never did any homework. Didn't do anything. Anyway, people are just it's just so obnoxious. All right, well, this Holiday video is just hilarious. And see, the difference between you jerks and Holiday is he's put his face on this nonsense. So that's another standard. If you want to be obnoxious, then you have to have a real YouTube channel. Okay? I mean, something I know it's a real person somehow. So I can humiliate you for the decades to come. I mean, that's only fair, right? I mean, you're going to play this obnoxious, rude game. Then, yeah, I'm going I'm going to make you pay for it in the future, forever. And just use you as a demonstration of why human beings suck. They absolutely suck, and you're an example of the suck, because you can't fight a fair fight. You're just weasels. You throw your little rocks from your anonymous little coward chairs, and you don't have any integrity. You don't put anything on the line. You don't invest anything in the nonsense you say. You just waste people's time, and that's just so obnoxious. You're nothing but crank phone callers, for fuck's sake. And nobody should have to tolerate it. So yeah, just don't bother. Because I'm done wasting time with nonsense. Gary's a high school dropout. I just learned. But scientists are idiots. And again, is there any logic in that stream of thinking? We already know there's a ton of people who did really well in life and didn't go to high school. I mean, it can't even mean anything, even if it were true. And it's not true, which makes it even more outrageous, unacceptable.
A menagerie of shit, yeah, which is capable of doing similar things to what lenses do.
Okay, so he obviously doesn't understand any of the physics of a lens. So he thinks you can make a collection of things and create a lens that way. So, for example, you have thing, and then you have another thing over here, and you have another thing over here, another thing over here, a collection of junk. And that somehow these things will add up to strong gravity. And no, they won't. Okay, they're just a collection of shit. See, all of this empty space just totally wipes all the gravity out. And it's just weak, weak, weak gravity. So to have strong gravity, and that's what you need to... Lensing requires strong gravity. See, that's Einstein's position. And again, this is just such a cheat, because he even mentions, in here he's just doing a bunch of just childish mockery crap. So the whole thing is just not a single argument through this first 5 minutes. And he doesn't even understand the point I made in the video was, you don't put the name Einstein on it if it doesn't have anything to do with Einstein's math. If it's a dark matter ring, then you should call it a dark matter ring, or call it after the the scientist who invented invisible matter. I don't mean transparent matter, I mean invisible matter. It really is invisible. It's not just transparent, it's invisible. So put his name on it and call it a, Mr. Shit for Brain ring. But you don't put Einstein's name on it and claim Einstein predicted it, because Einstein didn't predict dark matter. He didn't predict invisible matter that makes rings, that makes super strong gravity in the middle of nowhere. Einstein talked about the real universe. He didn't talk about the one you're making up. So anyway, it's just, he's getting something so fundamental wrong, okay, that a collection of things doesn't create strong gravity. Strong gravity is created by compressing a bunch of matter, compressing it, okay, heavy matter. Heavy with a, the circumference, the bigger you can make this circumference, the better. So the bigger the object is, kind of the better, because you have more time, right? So the photons going by, you have more time in the gravity, the bigger the circumference is of the strong gravity. But you need a lot of mass to do that, and that's not going to work. So you're just putting little thing here and a little thing here and a little thing here. This circumference doesn't mean you have strong gravity way out here, because it's the inverse square law. It gets 4 times weaker for every radius. Every radius you go, 4 times weaker. 4 more times weaker. 4 more times weaker. You can't bend light. You can't bend light in weak gravity. Einstein's ring prediction is a little ring right around the sun's circumference. Einstein didn't predict rings, thousands of parsecs away, because Einstein knew that would be weak gravity. You can't bend light in weak gravity.
The principal character being lenses bend light.
Yeah, so, this is more trivial nonsense. Like, yes, we already don't understand this concept. The light's being bent because the gravity is variable, and that can be approximated as a lens thickness. But the problem is the thickness of the lens in terms of gravity, the 4 times thing I just mentioned, creates a very distorted shaped lens. So it's like a fisheye lens. It's not gonna represent what's in the environment accurately anymore. It's going to distort it substantially. And again, I didn't argue that the distortion was a violation of the mathematics. I argued that you can't have 2 phenomena that have exactly the same mathematics that are fundamentally different, because there's not enough variables to play with here.
It's like
He's always doing this. I should mock him, because he spent the whole video doing mockery of me. So I should do some mockeries of his rotund and slow mind.
Water's a lens, kind of.
So he thinks, like I said, showing a bottle of water and distorting it is an example of gravity. Now, one of the rules of strong gravity is it won't let you do that. See that? Let's see if you have strong gravity on this thing, it'll pull this stuff in. See, strong gravity won't allow you to have like a lump. See, the gravity is going to force the lump into the average. It's going to force it to comply. That's why all the planets are round. Even Pluto, the tiny little planet, very spherical. It's because gravity doesn't do lumps. So it has to be very, very weak gravity to have a lumpy object. Strong gravity, no lumps. That's what I said. I said spherical. That's the tendency. That's what it drives towards. So he doesn't even understand that as a fact. and he's going to pretend that you could have a material sun that was not round or spherical, that a sun could form, you know, a heavy, massive object, and it wouldn't be a sphere. Like you could have a lumpy black hole or something. It's not possible, Hafliday. You're stupid. You're an ignorant fool, making a fool of yourself.
If I twist the bottle, yeah, it's still a lens.
Okay, so just understand. See, if he's thinking, well, I can twist these gravitational elements. See, I have the bullet hole galaxy or whatever he was talking about, some kind of nonsense where he says there's weak gravity where the matter is, but there's some kind of dark matter over here, some invisible thing, and that has strong gravity. Well, even in that circumstance, this is where the strong gravity will be, is around this body. And by the time it encompasses this object, it's already getting substantially weaker. See, again, you just don't get it. You can't have... Density is very important to gravity. The density of the stuff in the circle. Empty space ruins your gravity. Empty space kills gravity. You need dense matter. Matter with a lot of space in it won't create strong gravity. And I'll say it again, you need strong gravity to bend light. Light's moving really, really fast.
In the physics sense, it's not a very good optical lens, optical tool. It exhibits lensing effects.
Anyway, just a waste of time. Look, I posted the image. The image is on the same image that the other guy posted to is on the Einstein ring Wikipedia page. So go ahead and just explain the physics of that ring. Don't be playing with bottles and shit. Just explain how mathematically it's possible there's this strong gravity that thick, a huge thickness of strong gravity at a proportion that it would allow you to resolve any details in the image at all. That the inverse square law applied over that huge lens would still be able to resolve an image behind it. Go ahead and explain how that's mathematically possible, how it's consistent with anything Einstein suggested, because Einstein never suggested any of that crap. So the page calls it an Einstein ring. It doesn't have anything to do with Einstein, what Einstein suggested. It doesn't have anything to do with Einstein's math, and yet they call it that. And you think that's appropriate. I think you're an idiot. Alright, let's just do comments. Yeah, I really can't stomach off. I just want to throw up. He's just a buffoon. Okay, so this Gary Koch guy is going to. We're done playing this whatever game it is. You know, it's a waste of time game. You do realize that just because... So I put up the 30-minute overview video. It explains basically the basic concepts of the force theory. And... you can see, if you want to say in a comment, I don't think it'll work. It's probably okay. But as soon as you get into any kind of argument about it, it's just not going to go anywhere. But I've already been through all the elements. It does work, okay? Mach gravity is a real thing. It does duplicate the inverse square law. It creates the attractive force, quote unquote, of gravity. That's what it does. Feynman conceded the argument. Alright, so just keep playing your stupid games, but I'm done playing them, because these aren't debatable points. Okay, you lose. It's that simple. You lose. You're wrong. You're very wrong. Alright. You do realize that just because you come up with this doesn't make it true. Well, the same thing is true for bent space. Just saying bent space doesn't make it true, does it? And I would argue that, yes, just fitting the inverse square law wouldn't make it true either. But explaining magnetism, time dilation, the strong and weak nuclear forces, and electricity probably does make it right. Idiot. Just because you claim all these things, I demonstrated these things, work this way doesn't mean they do. Well, the fact is they do. I'm not gonna explain. Look, go watch the lectures, okay? Go do Maxwell's equations, and find out exactly what the convergence is that gravity is, exactly how it works, and you'll figure out that yes, it does match exactly. But I'm not doing it for you. I mean, you have to do some work. You have to come to this conversation with some knowledge of what the physics actually says, what the evidence already points to. And it seems to me that the only evidence you know about physics is the fringe physics. You don't seem to understand any of the fundamental properties in physics. That you have to prove they work that way. No, you don't. All you have to do is prove that they fit the evidence. That's all you have to do. I can't prove they work that way in the sense that we can't take pictures. But all we can do is meet the evidence. And I'm sure that, you know, again, I've already made some predictions, but I can also do that. And those predictions will end up coming true. Okay? I haven't seen any Eddington photos yet, so, you know, we had the eclipse. Let's see about if we get all these wonderful videos of stars moving in all kinds of erratic manner. Let's see if we get some actual video. I haven't seen any yet. Have you seen any? Anybody who sees any links to any actual video of the stars moving funny behind the eclipse, yeah, sure, post a link. I don't know whether anybody else has noticed, but did you see the size of the corona around the sun? I mean, it is huge. I mean, it is the diameter of the sun. It's a huge amount of energy. And any scientist who doesn't think that's relevant to this conversation, I say, is a shitty scientist. It's just so obviously not empty space around suns. It's not a clear view. There's some fog going on there. Let's see. That you have to prove they work that way, you know, in the real world, not a drawing. Well, again, what does Einstein have in terms of the real world? I'm sorry, you're an idiot. Einstein just has a drawing too, idiot. Geometry. There's nothing else, idiot. Moron. Fucktard. And he doesn't even have a mechanism. He just has lines on a piece of paper. I'm giving you an actual force element, a thing that's moving, that's actually doing something. His model doesn't even have a doer. Do you understand that? There's no doer. Nothing moves the earth. The earth just says, I'm going to move. I feel it. And nothing has to happen. No cause and effect mechanism. No mechanism. You do understand that, right? The current model doesn't have a mechanism. Oh, man. You can't just say they do. Well, again, by your own rules, I certainly can, because that's all Einstein did. No, you don't know that, and that's the problem. No, the problem is you're a hypocrite and a liar and a scumbag. That's really the problem. Excuse me while I go read about James Carter circons. That's not the subject of this video. I'm not arguing somebody else's theory. I don't think Einstein was arguing Tesla theory. Did Einstein have to account for Tesla? Did he have to defend Tesla? No, he didn't. He drew them and talked a lot about them, and hey, they make sense to some people. Well, making sense to some people doesn't mean anything. God makes sense to some people. What the fuck does that mean? Now, if you could impress me, if you'd say it made sense to Einstein, that would impress me. Therefore, they exist, because that's how science works. Well, again, you don't understand how science works. Science is a collection of information, a collection of facts. You know, some are really good facts, some are weak facts. Some are conclusions you're based on a ton of evidence, some are conclusions based on, oh, yeah, it looks that way. That's what science is. And the object of the scientist is to put that stuff together and say, what do these facts add up to? And it's to connect the dots. Connect the arrows, idiot. That's the whole fucking point, is to come up with a mechanism that makes all the facts fit in their right position. That's the obligation of a thinking person, which you're not. You're just a rude fucking troll. Goodbye. Alright, so the jack-o'-lantern guy will definitely be blocked, but I'll wait and see if there's some comment I need to fuck with, but I'll delete. this crap about me being a high school dropout, which is a fucking lie. Alright, question mark. There is no point in even trying to debunk your claims. Well, then just go away, because that's going to be your obligation. You have to show where my claims don't fit the evidence. Now, if that's too much of a challenge for you, then you're not going to be able to play the game right. I'm showing how your evidence, the lensing images, are garbage. That they don't even match the person's name you've put on top of them. You don't even match his predictions or his mathematics, and yet you put his name on it. I mean, I can show how you don't give a fuck about the truth at all. As it would be equivalent to trying to debunk the views of a flat earther or a creationist. Well, again, those are easy to debunk in my opinion. You find it challenging? I don't find it very challenging to do that. So I'm sorry you're so weak that you can't defeat some idiot who thinks the world's flat. Gee, you're pretty lame. That is how bad you're fake. That makes sense. Pseudoscience is. Well, again, the argument is I've provided you the opportunity to make an argument and you can't make one. That's the truth. It's obvious. Alright, then he says something more stupid. You're a snake oil salesman. I mean, I'm not selling anything, asswipe. I'm making an argument contending that you're a religious kook and that your God doesn't exist. Your bent space and your Heisenberg and your Huygens and all the other bullshit that you've made up, your dark matter. It's all a pile of crap, and I'm demonstrating how it's a pile of crap, and I'm demonstrating also that there's a much simpler, much better theory that explains everything, and it doesn't have to have any of your little magic fairies in it. Anyway, trying to sell some bullshit you made up. So it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't even start as a rational sentence. I'm not selling anything, you idiot. Having no evidence or data. So again, no, I don't have to have evidence. Just like Darwin didn't have to carry a bag of evidence. All he had to carry was a bag of arguments relevant to what he observed in the world, you idiot. You insult people like Tesla and Einstein. Well, I certainly insult Tesla because he was a rude and obnoxious bag of shit, kind of like you. Tesla thought he was the smartest man in the world and he knew everything about how everything worked. And no, he didn't. Tesla insulted Einstein, by the way, retard. When they have contributed more to the field than you could ever dream of. Well, we'll see, right? If Einstein was wrong, I'd still say it was a really good effort. But yeah, it was just wrong. But Tesla will always remain an asshole. So keep attacking real scientists. You mean real scientists who spent the last years of their life trying to sell a death ray. Okay. To the Russians. Yeah. To anybody who would pay him. Maybe one day it'll get you somewhere. Well, maybe one day you can grow up. Maybe you'll hit your 15th birthday and you'll realize, gee, I gotta quit eating my own poo. Alright, so some daft dog responds to him for I don't know what reason. Let's see. But Gary isn't selling anything here besides differentiating viewpoints and at a low cost of YouTube view time. What's your qualifications for being a scientist? Well, that's a good question. Let's see what question mark says. So his answer to that question is, what are your qualifications? There you go. What are Gary's? I've already stated my qualifications. Like I said, I have been, I have worked my entire life with physical, mechanical objects. And I spent the last 6 years spending all my free time watching physics lectures. So that sort of qualifies me in my opinion. Children's book on evolution, high school physics. So again, it's just more of these same arguments. Somebody asks you a direct question. How are you qualified to be able to evaluate a theory? You don't answer the question. You just do some more insulting. So, gee. I've never even graduated high school. So he has that in quotes. You and Gary both. So the other guy, the Daft Dog, says, look, I didn't graduate high school. I don't know all the deep to this stuff, but Gary sort of makes sense. And the guy says, you know, he's picking on it. And then he says, I didn't graduate from high school. And so the guy says, did Gary not either? If that's true, that's pretty badass. So again, see, this is what the danger of these liars is. They state this crap, it's lies, and then I have to go clean up that mess. I shouldn't have to clean up that kind of liar mess. Oh, mindless clues in for no good reason. Alright, so he quotes the statement, Gary is sitting in his home studying this. What exactly is he studying? Mindless asks, I guess. So you don't understand. Yes, I have watched all of the videos. I've said this before in videos, right? So Mindless is just a liar too, because I've already said this. But I mean, I watched over, let's see, over 100 lectures, you know, all of the 800 series at MIT. The Yale videos on quantum mechanics and on particle something or other. I can't remember the name of it. And Stanford. You know, different ones at Stanford. They don't have too many of the basic science lectures. They have lots of the quantum mechanics, though. What exactly has he been studying? That's what I've been studying, asshole. He's been wrong on the statements that there is no math that gives the real non-simplified double slit pattern. No, look, you want to keep pretending that your one web page has the right answer. I'm right about the fact that that's not how they teach it, okay, at MIT, Yale, or Stanford. That's not how they teach it. Jeez, I have provided him with the math 3 times. Yeah, no, you've provided me with some guy that has, you know, I don't know, how long a page doing the math based on assumptions he made, and I'm supposed to do the evaluation. You want me to take my time to see if this one guy is actually doing the real math? No, I don't have to do that, actually. No, I don't. I'm not even going to bother reading it. Fuck it. Fuck off, Mindless. I'm just so sick of your tripe. You want to believe in Huygens and Heisenberg? Go ahead. Knock yourself out. I mean, you still haven't dealt with the simplest point. Okay? How do you get 2 waves out of 1 slit? You really think that happens? 1 photon goes into the single slit and 2 waves come out and interfere with each other. You really think that's a rational thing to have in your fucking brain? Stupid cunt. Anyway. Alright, he dropped out because he couldn't get passed in physics. So again, so this is just lies. Alright, I'm done. I'm just deleting all the comments in this thread. I'm deleting. Go do this nonsense somewhere else. You're not doing it on my boards. I don't blame you, Daft Doggy guy, but I'm just saying it ain't happening no more. Alright, fuck you people. I mean, you can leave a comment like I get it or I don't get it. That's it. Yeah, and put your name on it, and just so in the future, like I said, we'll know who to mock and who to praise. Fuck all this nonsense. Liars, 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 and their lies. Okay. So Jerk-O-Lantern said something to Superior Mind. Okay, so Superior Mind said something blah 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 blah. And he says, speaking as someone who can do math and understands Newton's differential equations, that is, he used to derive his theory of universal gravity. That doesn't even make sense. Is universal gravity? I don't think Newton called it universal gravity, but anyway. I can tell you with confidence that the simulation you're talking about could never simulate the orbit of a planet. Well, again, so just deny Feynman then, right? I mean, I already played it twice, maybe 3 times I've played that clip in videos. And you're just going to pretend he doesn't say, oh, it's a great model, except it doesn't work, and for one reason. And I've already solved the one reason. So you just keep pretending that it's not part of the theory that the there's a solution to Feynman's one critique. But even without that solution, it's still true that it matches gravity, and you keep pretending it doesn't. Yes, it won't match gravity for 5,000 years. It won't keep a planet in orbit. But it would certainly match gravity for a few hundred rotations, or whatever you want to come up with. It mocks it. It matches. And all I have to do is fix the velocity problem. And again, I fixed it. Well, whatever. I guess we'll be done with him on this comment. I'm just done with these assholes. See, look, the Alex guy, he just says, I agree. There, good enough. You know, unless you really want to make an argument about something. But these aren't arguments. Alright, so the Gary Koch guy again. Yes, these trivial arguments again. Pointing out how you have to provide evidence. Now again, I don't have to provide a single shred of evidence. All I have to do is meet the evidence that exists, match it. Pointing out how you require a seemingly impossible level of evidence for other theories. An impossible level of evidence is that you actually use Einstein's math when you're going to put Einstein's name on a lensing image. Wow, gee, that's an insane standard. But none of your own. Science, what a nonsense. Again, that's not my argument. My argument is you're turning it into nonsense. You religious kooks. You really should just change your channel name to Draft Natural Philosophy. Well, you should change your name to Asshole, because you're an asshole. Oh, this is a long pile of crap. But this will be the last I'll read of your shit. It really is a credit to how deep your delusion is that you've convinced yourself you don't even need to verify your theory with real-world observation. Again, what real-world observation? Oh, there, I just validated the existence of gravity. Yep. The little bits just moved this. Yep. It just happened. The pressure was uneven because my hand and the earth was there. And they're creating gravity. You know, lack of force is getting to the battery from the bottom, and so the force on the top is pushing it right down. And it's actually absorbing energy as it's falling. And as it does that, a little bit of the earth is actually moving towards the battery. Dumbass. You're all about evidence and observation for other things until you need to provide it yourself. Again, what evidence besides matching the evidence does a theoretical statement about the underlying mechanism have to match? I can't provide you a videotape, I'm sorry. The quanta are very small. I don't know whether you heard about that, but that's one of the problems, is they're very small. Where's your evidence of bent space? Go show me the bucket of bent space in the museum, please. Maybe they have a picture online of a bucket of bent space, and you could show me that. Asshole. Let's see. Or if it doesn't fit your ideas, you truly are a religious zealot. We've already been there. You're the zealot for your theory. Well, I'm not even arguing my theory. I'm arguing your theory, idiot. So you can't even get that one right. All these arguments are about your stupid theory, not my theory. Because you haven't made one point relevant to my theory. Not one. And you have zero self-awareness about just how far gone you are. Well, I mean, I'm not even going to bother this. Like I said, this is just wasted time. Goodbye. Don't have a nice life. Get hit by a car as soon as possible. All that kind of shit. Done with that. Done with him. Let's see. I don't know who this Robert Diggins. Oh dear, Thunderbolts. So, alright, I'll give you the critique on Thunderbolts. Look, the only thing I have in common with Thunderbolts, or even Miles Mathis, or even the Nutty Professor, you know, Jelly Belly, Ken Wheeler, is yes, we all agree that conventional physics has got wacky bits in it. Doesn't make no frickin' sense. It's sort of an easy target. So yeah, there's lots of chance that something else could be the truth, because the bag of shit they're holding on to is shitty. Yes, we agree on that. Alright, but that's it. After that, we don't agree about a fucking thing. Anyway, Thunderbolt seems to complement your theory. Like, see, it doesn't complement it at all. It's a wacky ether theory, for fuck's sake. You can correct the term electric force to the ion force. But again, they're applying the force in a circumstance where it can't, because they're thinking of it as a medium. See, if there was an ether theory where they made the ether into a moving thing, then there'd be a complementary exchange. So you don't understand. In my theory, the field energy is energy. All the other energy comes from its movement. If you make the ether dead, it can't do anything. It can't make magnetism that way. It has to be alive. So a dead ether is useless. Anyway, including, okay, let's see, electric force to ton force are a circle of forces. Why would I do that? I'm arguing it's one force, so I don't think I want to do forces, including magnetism, gravity, and photons. Very ingenious. So I don't know what that means, but the point is it's one force. Please see this similarity. Why? No, I really don't want to. When they propose gravity to be a manifestation of electric force. I mean, I don't know how you can see there any similarity whatsoever. Gravity is the absorption of momentum. Moving towards something makes gravity. When you move towards something, you absorb force that would have hit the other fucker. See, I only move really slow. Even if I move the fastest I can move, it's a lot slower than the shit I absorbed to move. The stuff I absorbed to move was going a lot faster than I was. So the camera didn't get hit by it. So when I move towards the camera, I effectively make gravity. Alright. Let's see. As I shared previously a link to a detailed description of their correct predictions about comets that should give them some merit. They also get rid of leprechauns. Yeah, well, again, like I said, I don't fundamentally disagree with some of their critiques, but some of them are useless. I mean, one of the most eloquent speakers in this whole Thunderbolts thing is what's his face? You might have, yeah, Wallace Thornhill, this Australian guy, and his argument is crap. His argument against Einstein's theory is that it's a two-body equation. Why do you need another body? And that's exactly counter to my argument, is that that's exactly why Einstein's right. That's why he got the numbers right, is because he actually recognized it's a two-body equation. Both of them create gravity in each other. Gravity is induced. It's inductive. So, you know, Einstein's wrong about the mechanism, but he's right about how it does it. He's not right about what does it. Alright, anyway. And so, alright, so he wants me to go watch some of these other cranks. So maybe I'll watch some of them. But their fundamental theory isn't a theory. It doesn't have any... There's no picture of it. It's just... And then the lightning... pull, you know, and they actually think like craters are caused by lightning. I mean, it's really stupid. Alright, well, anyway, enough of that. So I don't know what this one guy is. I don't even, these names are just so unpronounceable. Interesting, your definition, diffraction comments about diffractive surfaces are. On the face of it, correct. But then I thought, how about a rainbow? I mean, rainbow's diffraction wouldn't explain why we can observe or see one. No, rainbows are water droplets. Alright, so there's lots of different ways that light gets reflected. And what we're talking about in scatter, okay, is the light getting diffracted, because of it hitting an electron, and then the electron moves in a crooked direction and then re-emits the photon in that new vector, something like that. That kind of thing is very different than a water droplet that collects light and then moves an electron, and then that moves, and then that moves, and there's 3 reflections. That's very different. See, that's more of a surface thing again. You know, so electrons can be in lots of different positions and orientations, so scatter is possible. But I mean, you know, they're just not comparable. You kind of recognize not all light reflections are the same, nor are all light refractions the same. And so the argument in the video was just mostly because people were arguing that radio waves going through a field of electrons should somehow go through at different speeds because of their different wavelength, and that wouldn't happen in a random field of electrons. Alright. Let's see, no sources in the descriptions. We already did that part. I made my point. Obviously you have no counter arguments on the facts, and that's the real point here. Also forgot to add the fact that Gary is an e-lawyer, so he's going to talk about the fact that I sued over an illegal tobacco tax, and other subjects related to the conduct of liars on YouTube, and whether people have a right to sue people who are liars. And I believe they do have a right to sue liars. He doesn't. Alright. Done with him. Let's see. I don't really believe that any of us... Okay, so I did this whole very stuff. Like we can't know the truth. All that bullshit. Alright, so we just clean up the rest of these people and be done with this. Yeah, so I'm really not interested in your rag comments. If you can't make something close to a serious argument, just fuck off. Because I'm done playing with assholes. Especially people have no reputation. You want to come here with a reputation. You want to come here using your own name, with a real YouTube channel where you make real videos. Fine. But otherwise, fuck you. Yeah. I have work to get done, and I ain't gonna get done wasting my time defending myself against liars and such. Okay, I think that's it. Good. And I'll try to play some more of the holiday video, but it's just so difficult. I hope no one plagiarizes this. This is the newest comment. If the trolls were smart, they would have plagiarized this long ago. It's not going to do anybody any good to plagiarize it. The entire history of me developing this theory has been public. So even if somebody tried to steal it, even if they stole it, I mean, it'd be so easy for me to argue, how much of it could they steal? If they steal all of it, it would be obvious where it came from. No, it's not a big threat. It's not a threat at all, actually. And so, I'm not too worried. I think I could definitely prove in court that it's my theory. Mine alone. Blah, blah, blah. So let's play a little tiny bit of this and then be done.
So it's the complexity of the distribution of...
Okay, so he just said it's the complexity of the distribution. And fundamental to gravitational theory is any complexity of distribution means, any distribution of mass means now you've put empty space into the thing enclosed. The enclosed surface has now got empty space in it, and the empty space dilutes the gravitational strength, and therefore you'd never be able to lens light with any kind of object that had empty space in it. It wouldn't have enough gravity.
Of matter and unknown stuff.
Okay, so he's making an argument about how their evidence is so good, and he uses terms like unknown stuff. So they're making lensing arguments based on unknown stuff. Again, and they say, look, Einstein was right. Einstein didn't say anything about unknown stuff. It's just a bullshit argument.
Which still fits and is consistent with general relativity.
Well, it's not. So I think that's just a ludicrous, out of your ass statement. Nowhere in general relativity or in Einstein's field equations is there any hope that you could put a bunch of fluffy stuff inside of an object and then say it has strong gravity.
Now, I've tried to explain as well the significance of position.
Again, okay, so once again, I'll just say this. Position, you're already out of the conversation regarding strong gravity as soon as you say the word position. It's over. There's no conversation about strong gravity. The only strong gravity can be, if I have three things here, the only strong gravity can be here. Okay? Here will be incredibly weak gravity. Here and here. Position doesn't help you make strong gravity. It helps you make weak gravity.
Mr. Blackhead man, yeah, looking through the water lens, gets to see certain images. Okay? Mr. Whitehead man,
I think it's a bird.
Away, doesn't get to see.
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. So what? That's not part of my argument. My argument is that the lensing image is huge. We're talking like a light year across or something. Preposterous. Okay, the diameter of the object creating the gravity is tiny. We're way out here, so we're maybe 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 times less gravity than it's here. And you're saying it's a lens here. The argument is the more powerful the lens, the more opportunity for lensing. So that is, there's things from more different and varied places, light from photons from all kinds of different places. The stronger the gravity, the more places that could possibly lens. The weaker the gravity, then there's only one place that can create the lens. You know, one object that could be just right for that weak gravity. So why isn't there any lensing in this huge space that has much stronger gravity than here? So you have this huge hunk of lensing, and let's again point out, this is a really thick image of lensing, not a thin one. So it has to have the proper amount of gravity throughout this whole entire distance. Not r squared gravity, but gravity that changes by a different proportion for the image to be resolved. And yet you have this huge gravity here that's not lensing anything. It's illogical. The evidence is contrary to what the rational and reasonable expectations would be. It doesn't fit. It's not just bizarre, it's impossible mathematically, and it's bizarre. I mean, even if it was theoretically possible, that you can rationalize this lensing image without using dark matter, you would still be left with something incredibly bizarre as something that happens, and your expectation would be you can't have that bizarre stuff, a bunch of it, and absolutely none of the stuff where it's getting lens closer. That would be also impossible, probabilistically. No chance of that happening. So, you're an idiot. So, anyway, till next time. I'm going to go solicit a better audience, so that's part of the new project. I'm not going to bother accepting the slings and arrows of imbeciles.